AMT's Mack R is a well done kit overall, although it does have molded on door handles, and although the basic shape is fairly accurate, the detail itself is rather shallow. Touching up the door handle after the model is painted can be done with silver paint, as was done here, or bare metal foil, but the overall effect is still not as convincing as a separate, freestanding part. With a little bit of work, some 60 thou by 250 thou wide styrene strip, and 032 brass wire, it's easy to make realistic freestanding door handles for your Mack R. Using the depth gauge on a vernier caliper, mark a line at 60 thou in from one edge of the strip. Make another mark 60 thou in from the end of the strip and draw this line across. These layout lines provide a guide for the initial rough shaping of the door handle. Using a sanding stick or file, taper the end of the styrene strip from the 60 thou mark down to the bottom of the strip as shown here. The 60 thou by 60 thou corner that remains is where the push button will be on the finished door handle. It's a little difficult to see in this edge-on view, but the next step is to sand away the corners of the strip along the curved end just created to taper it down to a point. Now, lay out and drill a 1/16 diameter hole in the center of the strip as shown here. Both the sanding and the drilling are much easier to do if you leave the styrene strip full length and let it serve as a handle while you're shaping the finished part. The next step will be to cut the door handle free from the styrene strip, and this is done using a fine-tooth razor saw, cutting along the 60 thou layout line and through the center of the drilled hole. The piece is starting to look more like a door handle and less like a styrene strip with a bunch of sanding and drilling done to it. File the square end of the strip down to approximately 20 thousandths of an inch in thickness to provide a flat surface where the push button will be attached. Blend sharp corners with some light scraping with a hobby knife, followed by fine sandpaper. Using a small round file, carefully increase the size of the drilled hole toward the front and back of the door handle, as shown here. This open space between the door handle and the cab door is the biggest improvements in appearance created by our new freestanding door handles. Drill an 032 diameter hole in the center of the flat portion, and glue in a piece of 032 diameter brass wire with the end filed square. This piece of wire will serve as both the push button and the mounting pin to install the door handle on the finished model. Before removing the molded on door handle completely, shave off the push button and use it as a guide to drill the new hole in the cab shell. After the hole is drilled, the remaining door handle can be removed and the area sanded smooth. The lock cylinder detail is also molded in quite shallow relief, and it can be difficult to touch up on the painted model. This punch set from Micromark provides an alternative, making it easy to punch a disc from 016 sheet aluminum that can be then glued in place to represent the door lock cylinder. The second smallest punch, which is 1.5 millimeters in diameter, matches the molded on kit detail nicely. The finished discs when punched will have one side dished slightly and the other side convex. It's a little hard to see in this close-up view, but the disc on the left is convex and the one on the right is slightly dished. This is simply a result of the punching process. The lock cylinder detail on the kit is so shallow that the disc can be glued in place directly over it with the convex side facing out without even having to remove the molded on detail. I used a Molotow Blackliner pen, 0.3 millimeter in size, to put the small black dot on there to represent where the key goes. The DM series Macks, originally kitted by MPC way back in the early 70s, feature nicely done separate door handles, but don't have any door lock cylinder detail. This is easily added using aluminum discs in the same manner, gluing them on slightly below and in line with the push button on the door handle. 1/25th scale is large enough to make details like this both visible and relatively practical to add. Chrome finish for the door handles on this model was done using Alclad. Molotow chrome pen is another alternative, especially on parts as small as this. A big improvement in the finished appearance, and they really aren't that hard to build. Thanks for watching this little how-to. Give these a try on your next model, whether it be a Mack R or one of AMT's Ford offerings.